All right, welcome back, guys. This is a shorter objective, so that's nice. So we're talking about the degree of response. So once we have one of those lipid or water-soluble hormones coming and connecting with the cell somehow, there's going to be an amount of response, either small or large. So a cell's response is going to go ahead and vary depending on its number of receptors for that specific hormone, or its simultaneous response to other hormones, right? So we've got lots of things that are going on and connecting with the cell or moving into the cell and causing a response there. So the number of receptors, you can have an upregulation or a downregulation, right? So the upregulation is going to mean that you have an increase in your number of receptors. So this increases the sensitivity to the hormone, right? The more places where you can go ahead and catch the hormone, the more likelihood that you're going to have a pretty big response, right? So this sometimes occurs when blood levels of hormone are low. So if you have a low level of hormone, you're going to find more receptors on there so that your body can actually react to it better. And then that sometimes is going to occur, that upregulation, when you have changes in development in the cell cycle or the cell activity, right? So when you go ahead and hit puberty, right, you might go ahead and find more receptors for those steroid hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Now, downregulation means that you're going to have a decrease of the number of receptors, and it's going to decrease the sensitivity of the cell to that hormone. So this sometimes occurs when your blood levels of hormone are high, right, opposite of upregulation, and sometimes occurs with changes, again, in development, cell cycle, and cell activity. So it just kind of depends where you're at and what the hormone is, right? So different hormones can simultaneously bind to a cell, right? So you have to think of a cell as this like massively huge little house that has all of these receptors all the way along the outside, and then also you have receptors inside the cytosol and in the nucleus, depending on if you're, responding to water-soluble versus lipid-soluble hormones. So we have three different interactions that can happen. We have synergistic interactions, right? So if you think of synergy working together, so this is where one hormone reinforces the activity of another hormone, okay? So an example of this would be like estrogen and progesterone, and they're going to have an effect together on a target cell. The second type of interaction is the permissive interactions. So this is where one hormone requires the activity of another hormone, so it needs permission to go ahead and cause an effect in the cell. An example of this would be oxytocin's milk ejection is going to actually require prolactin's milk-generating effect, right? So we have to have prolactin to actually produce milk, and then oxytocin is going to respond to that by allowing the ejection of the milk. The third type of interaction is the antagonistic interaction, right? So an antagonist would be someone going against. So we're thinking where one hormone opposes the activity of another one. So this would be glucagon, where it increases blood glucose levels, while insulin is actually going to lower it, so they're opposite to each other, allowing that ability to balance out and keep that homeostasis in our body. So a little check for understanding. If someone were to take a large dose of artificial hormone, how might target cells respond to maintain a normal level of response? So remember, if we have lots of a hormone, we go ahead and downregulate to decrease the number of receptors and to decrease the sensitivity to that hormone. And then our second question, what type of interaction occurs when a target cell has receptors for two hormones causing opposing effects? That's when we were talking about glucagon and insulin. So those are going to be an antagonistic interaction. Good luck.